Another one is a non-affirming and affirming negation, a negative. I already talked a little bit, touched in the previous chapters, but I just want to re-emphasize, according to Tsongkhapa, this is also very, very important how we understand the emptiness. Emptiness is non-affirming negation. You will know why we need to differentiate these two kinds of negations. Non-affirming negation, this is that, of course, English translation. Me-gak. Me is a negation. Gak means a negative. Negative and negative, but non-affirming negation. A non-affirming negation is a negation that removes something and does not imply or leave in its place any other phenomena. Negate, that's it. The pure negation, mere negation, doesn't leave any space for other things. Nothing positive or addition is implied by this negation. This is important, the non-affirming negation. That's what Lama Tsongkhapa or our tradition is talking about in terms of emptiness. It's a bright emptiness. For example, the absence of an intrinsic nature in a person and other than person, phenomena, so-called. This absence of intrinsic nature, inherent nature we talked about is the non-affirming negative. When we negate the intrinsic nature, we are not implying some other entity behind it. What remains is simply the absence, mere absence, only absence, nothing more. This is the kind of negation Tsongkhapa insists applies to emptiness, because there are so many different traditions to interpret emptiness in a different way. His emphasis of emptiness as a non-affirming negative or negation is very important. This is the kind of example here. A phantom room that was never there. Imagine thinking there is a room behind a closed door. When you open it, you discover there is nothing there. No room, no replacement, just empty space. You do not find any other room. Yeah, like a restaurant. Last time you guys came to Eugene and we went to the Thai restaurant, right? Then I entered the room. Then I thought, oh, I haven't been for ages. They expanded the restaurant. Then there was a mirror in the end of the wall, mirror wall. Then I thought that was a big room. But there's nothing there, actually. No, nothing there at all. No closet, no hallway, no nothing. So mere negation. You simply find the absence of the room you imagined. That is non-affirming negation. This is Tsongkhapa's emphasis. I put the bold face. Then versus affirming negation. Then what is affirming negation? Tibetan called ma-inga. Gak is a negation or negative. Ma-in means ma is a negation, but in means be verb. Be verb means I am, or she is, or he is. That be verb. Ma-inga, affirming negation. You know what that means, you will know. The affirming negation removes something, but implies or affirms something else in its place. The negation is tied to asserting a different phenomena. For example, if I say that this table is not udon, implied it is made of something else, some other material. It's not udon, but it is made of something else. Or that this cup is not empty, implies there's something inside. This room doesn't have an elephant, but something might be in this room. Yeah, this is affirming negative. The negation affirms or suggests a new presence, different presence. Metaphor, a cup that is not filled with tea. If I say the cup is not filled with tea, implied something else, but filled with perhaps juice or water. You say the cup is not filled with tea, but this implies something else is inside, maybe water or milk. You negate tea, but you affirm another presence. This is affirming negation. This is not the understanding emptiness, according to Lama Tsongkhapa. So why Tsongkhapa say the emptiness must be a non-affirming negative? Tsongkhapa argued that if emptiness were an affirming negative, then what happens? Last time we talked about the emptiness of emptiness. We would end up refining emptiness itself, turning emptiness into a subtle essence or something that stands in place of intrinsic existence. This would contradict the very point of emptiness. We would mistakenly believe that when inherent existence is removed, something else, like a cosmic oneness, or a ground of being, or a deeper reality, or even spaciousness, or the thing like a luminous clarity remains. This becomes eternalism or monism. So we don't posit further. Like non-affirming negation is a mere negation, but affirming negation implied something else. That is a problem for him, for us, for him, for understanding the emptiness. Because there are lots of philosophers back those days like that as well. That's why he really emphasized this point. And nowadays, too, we want to know if we are follower of these streams of understanding, try to understand what we are doing. Important to differentiate. The insight would not cut the root of samsara. So that the kind of ultimately come down to the cutting the root of samsara, right? So this non-affirming negation, even insight into this would not cut the root of samsara because the mind would still grasp at the true existence, merely shifting its object of grasping. That's why I sometimes against, not strongly against thing, because I myself use as a convention, like replacing the word emptiness with the fullness or something. I know a teacher, female teacher, she hates use emptiness. Then always replacing emptiness with fullness to the Western student, refining the emptiness. Yeah, with the understanding of this, emptiness is non-affirming negation, then use those terminology as a convention to bring certain kind of tone is okay. And I think I do myself too. But then it's important to not refine the emptiness of emptiness. This way of understanding emptiness is important. What other significances? Tsongkhapa emphasized that emptiness is the mere absence of intrinsic nature, just as we went over, not the thing, not the thingy, not the hidden essence, nothing hiding there behind the emptiness, or not the even energy, Emptiness is an energy. No, nothing. Not the deeper ground of reality, ground of being. Not some Nima teacher used the ground of being. Emptiness is ground of being. As if something there, something we want to hold on to. At a psychological, emotional level, we always look for something to cling on to, hold on to, no? And also not a luminous substance, like a luminosity, clear light, as if clear light is a light. I think emptiness. That's terminology. We also need to understand this ocell. Ocell is not a thing. But anyway, when we translate it in English, clear light means as if like a candle light, but nothing like that. Equivalent to emptiness, but without understanding of the original term also, we solidify. We want to kind of refine the emptiness. And a special kind of existence, emptiness. It's none of them. If emptiness were anything other than a mere absence, other than non-affirming negation, what's going to happen? We would continue to grasp at some ultimate thing. I mean, we are not targeting the root of the samsara. Continue to grasp. Nagarjuna said, especially bad if we cling on to emptiness. It's helpless. Saraha also said, clinging onto the thing is stupid, but clinging onto the emptiness is stupider. Cannot be helped because poisoned, it's helpless. Anyway, it's important not to solidify, refine the emptiness. Grasping would remain intact. Like liberation would be impossible. Only a non-affirming negative correctly describes emptiness. Then what is left when the mind no longer projects intrinsic nature? Nothing but freedom. This freedom is not the freedom stuff. Not an alternative essence, just the absence of what never existed. What is that? Inherently existing. This is why Tsongkhapa is so careful. Understanding emptiness is a mega non-affirming negative, ensures that the realization truly undermines grasping at self and phenomena, thus cutting through the root of samsara. These are two kind of pairs of the concept I thought might give you clarity about why Tsongkhapa is bothered to do this. One of the Tsongkhapa's purpose or the aim or roles around that time is to clarify the understanding of emptiness, interpreting emptiness based on the original sources. There are lots of Madhyamaka interpreters of Chandrakirti appeared in Tibet, Tibetan master before Lama Tsongkhapa. But he went to the original source, eventually with the Parita and Chandrakirti. Then tried to clarify the misconceptions. Why misconception was a problem? It's affected on the many areas subject, not only just philosophical argument, but ethics, for example. If we solidify the emptiness, for example, ethics, good or bad, or virtuous and non-virtuous, all these things. Based on the misunderstanding emptiness, for example, practitioners started to misuse their conduct and so forth. So anyway, his important role was to clarify the misconception, clear up all those misunderstanding about ethics and so forth.